A couple of years ago, my friend Dave had an encounter that changed his life forever. Dave was an avid outdoorsman who spent his weekends hiking and exploring the deep woods near his hometown in Oregon. He had a particular interest in wildlife, and he had set up several trail cameras throughout the forest to capture pictures of the local fauna. One weekend, Dave ventured out into the woods to retrieve the SD cards from his trail cams. He was eager to see what creatures he had captured on film, as he often found pictures of deer, raccoons, and even the occasional coyote. Back at home, Dave loaded the first SD card onto his computer and began flipping through the images. It was the usual mix of critters and woodland scenes, but as he clicked through, one photo caught his attention. The image showed a creature that Dave had never seen before. It was tall and bipedal, with long, muscular limbs and a hunched posture. Its body was covered in thick, matted fur, and its face had a distinctly ape-like appearance. The creature seemed to be looking directly at the camera, its eyes reflecting this eerie glow. Dave was at a loss for words. He knew that the Pacific Northwest was famous for its Sasquatch sightings, but he had never believed in the creature himself. Yet, there it was, staring back at him from his computer screen. Dave reached out to a few friends who were also interested in the subject, sharing the photo and his story. Soon enough, word spread, and the image began circulating online. Skeptics questioned its authenticity, while believers saw it as undeniable proof of the elusive creature's existence. Over the following months, Dave became obsessed with finding more evidence of the creature. He had to capture it on film. He spent countless hours in the woods, setting up more trail cams and even trying to find physical traces of the mysterious being. Dave's trail cam photo ignited a firestorm of debate and fascination in the world of cryptozoology. Whether or not the creature in the image is truly the legendary Bigfoot, Dave's incredible backstory continues to captivate people and fuel their curiosity about the undiscovered mysteries that may still lurk in the depths of our forests. A few years back, a talented nature photographer named Sarah had an experience that left her both excited and dumbfounded. Sarah was well known for her stunning images of wildlife and landscapes, as she had traveled to remote regions all over the world in search of the perfect shot. One summer, Sarah decided to explore the dense forests of the Pacific Northwest. Having heard countless stories of Sasquatch sightings in the area, she couldn't help but feel a twinge of curiosity about this creature, even though she remained skeptical about its existence. Sarah spent days trekking through the forest, capturing breathtaking images of lush greenery, cascading waterfalls, and the diverse wildlife that called the area home. One morning, as she hiked along a secluded trail, she heard a series of strange guttural vocalizations echoing through the trees. Her curiosity piqued. She cautiously followed the sounds, and her camera was at the ready. As she rounded the bend in the trail, she saw this massive hairy creature standing near a clearing. It was at least 8 feet tall, with long arms and distinctly ape-like face. Sarah couldn't believe her eyes. She was staring at a real-life Bigfoot, her adrenaline pumping. She quickly snapped the photo before the creature had a chance to disappear. To her amazement, it didn't flee immediately. Instead, it paused for a moment, seemingly studying her with its dark, intelligent eyes. Sarah managed to take a second photo, just as the creature turned and vanished into the underbrush. Shaken but exhilarated, she returned to civilization, her mind racing with the implications of what she had just witnessed. She shared the incredible photos with a close friend, and soon the images went viral, sparking debates among enthusiasts and skeptics alike. Today, Sarah still continues to travel and photographs nature's wonders. But her chance encounter with the Sasquatch remains the most remarkable experience of her career. I grew up in New York City and was always told by my adopted parents not to believe in anything paranormal, like aliens, ghosts, Bigfoot, and all that kind of stuff. But one day, I saw something that changed my beliefs. It was the first time I saw the faceless suited men. I was in the financial district. I couldn't shake the feeling that something was off. I'm just an average guy living in the city. I work as a delivery man, and I just try to make ends meet. I live paycheck to paycheck, and frankly, I don't have the time of day to stir up stories or blather on like those wackadoos on the street screaming the end is near. I've never been one for conspiracy theories or anything like that, but ever since I first saw these faceless suited men, I can't help but feel like there's a lot going on that we have no idea about. I feel crazy even writing about this, but I'm telling you, look out for these guys. They're dangerous. The first time I saw them, I was making a delivery to a high-rise office building in the financial district. As I walked into the lobby, I saw a group of men in black suits and sunglasses. But when I looked closer, I realized they had no faces. It really freaked me out. I started to notice these faceless suited men all over the city. They were always in groups, and I couldn't help but feel like they were up to something. I started to check things out and even followed them a few times, but they always seemed to know that I was there and would disappear down a street. As I continued to look into it, I started to notice that the faceless suited men were always around areas of political and financial power, like government buildings and rich people places. It made me feel like they were part of some larger conspiracy to take over the city. I tried not to involve anyone else in this. I was too scared of what might happen if I did. But I did start to see other people noticing the faceless suited men too. It was like we were all part of a secret club too afraid to talk about what we were seeing. As time went on, my fear and anxiety grew. I started to see these faceless suited men in my dreams. I couldn't shake the feeling that they were watching me. I knew I had to uncover the truth. I was constantly looking over my shoulder. I could never shake the feeling that I was being followed. They never beat me up or anything like that, but I was always scared that something might happen to me if I got too close to the truth. I started to do my own research on them. I read every conspiracy theory I could find, and even started to look into the history of New York City. That's when I stumbled upon something called the Men in Black. They were said to be government agents who covered up evidence of extraterrestrial encounters. It wasn't until I started to research the Men in Black that I realized the faceless suited men might be part of something larger. I still don't know exactly what they are, but I'm convinced they're not human. I believe these guys are part of some larger conspiracy to take over the city, and maybe even the world. Whether they're part of the government or something more sinister, I don't know, but they're definitely not human. I still haven't found the full truth behind the Men in Black, but I do know that they are part of something bigger than I ever imagined. After months of research, I discovered that there were others who had seen these men too, but were too afraid to speak out. I found online forums where people shared their experiences and theories. I even reached out to some of them. It turns out these Men in Black have been spotted all over the country, not just in New York City. Some believe that they're part of a secret government agency, while others think they're actually extraterrestrial beings. There are even those who claim that the faceless suited men are members of a secret society that controls the entire freaking world. As for me, I still don't know what to believe. All I know is that these men are real, and they're up to something. I've seen them in places where they shouldn't be, and I've heard things that make my blood run cold. I've tried to document their movements and patterns, but they always seem to be one step ahead of me. Despite my best efforts, I still haven't been able to stop the men in black from doing whatever it is they're doing. I've tried to raise awareness, but no one seems to believe me. I've even gone to the police, but they just laughed and told me to stop wasting their time. At this point, I've come to accept that there are things in this world that we may never understand. I'll continue to keep an eye for these freaky, faceless suited men, but I know that I can't do it alone. I hope someday that someone will uncover the truth behind these mysterious figures and put an end to whatever it is they're planning. I can't help but wonder how many other strange phenomena are out there that we don't know about. Growing up, my adopted parents always told me to only believe in proven science, and everything else was nonsense. But after seeing these men in black, these faceless freaks, I don't know what to believe anymore. What I do know is that there's more to this world than meets the eye. We may never know all the answers, but that shouldn't stop us from asking questions and seeking the truth. Maybe someday we'll finally uncover the secrets that have been hidden from us for so long. I remember growing up next to this strange building. I lived in the suburbs, and I had neighborhood friends. Mostly, I was friends with this person who had lived in the same cul-de-sac as me. But one night in particular, my friend asked me if I knew about this building on the other side of the creek. Our houses were, like I said, in a cul-de-sac. And on one side of this row of houses, my house was in this row, was a creek. So from my backyard, I could see some of this area. And beyond that was this strange place, according to my friend. I asked my friend what made it strange. He responded, with the things that go on there, how could it not be strange? I really wasn't sure what he meant. I hadn't seen anything unusual myself. And according to him, I lived much closer to it. But I was curious, so I asked. And he said that the building was never open during the day. It was only used at night. And that it had these strange symbols placed in a straight line at the top right of only one side of the building. And they explained that strange men were seen going in and out of the place, wearing strange attire. To me, it sounded like this story was built on a wild imagination of a kid, so I really wasn't sure what to think. But my friend told me to wait until it got dark, to look out towards the creek, and I would see bonfires and strange activity. So I waited, and sure enough, just as the sky got dark, I peeked through my fence and saw several areas that seemed like they were lit by fire. Now, I couldn't see much. I was looking through my fence and some trees that surrounded the creek, but there certainly were some fires. The next day I told my friend that I saw some fires beyond the creek, but I also told him that it didn't mean anything. My friend assured me that I was right, that it didn't prove anything, but he thought we should go to the creek that night so we could get a closer look at whatever might be going on at that building. I agreed. Obviously, I was skeptical, but I was also very interested and excited about what we might find. It was literally one of those kid adventures you see in the movies, but it was happening to us in real life. What kid doesn't want something like that to happen to them? As soon as it got dark, I snuck out of my house. I ran down the sidewalk to my friend's house. He said that we should wear all black. My friend and I got together. We tried not to make too much noise as we headed down the street to the creek. Luckily, it was going into late fall. Not too many people were out anymore. We got to the creek. I could see some of the building. My friend suggested that we stay a little back to hide ourselves in some trees. I thought it was a great idea, so we both got down in a squatting position. This was the first time I could actually see the building as clearly as I did. I could see that it was a very simple rectangle shape, but it was taller than it was wide. It was made out of some type of gray bricks, and just as my friend had mentioned, the building had some strange symbols on it. It had a strange eye-shaped thing. It had a snake. It had one of those things we used in school. I believe it was called a compass. And it also had a 5-pointed star with a circle around it, a pentagram. I asked my friend if they knew what it meant. I asked my friend if he knew what it meant. He said he had no idea, and then asked if I thought it was weird. It was very weird. I wish I knew what it was trying to tell us. I was a kid at the time. I didn't know what half of the stuff was called, but just as I started to inspect the building further, which, by the way, had not a single window, I noticed that several cars all start to park in the parking lot. The only thing that separated us from the parking lot was an old wired fence. So this was a bit nerve-wracking. Sure enough, people in really strange hats started piling out of the cars and lining up at the side of the building. Many of the people were men, but I spotted 2 women. They all had really nice cars, and the women were wearing these really fancy dresses. Their hats were tall and sat in the center of their heads. I couldn't make out the color. It was either red or purple, I couldn't tell. And none of them were speaking loudly enough for us to hear anything. A couple of the men started lighting these weird things that looked like metal trash cans with fire. There were 6 in total, and as soon as they finished, everyone did some sort of weird bow, then started walking inside the building. We didn't see much else that night. It started getting too late to stay much longer, but I'd say the people arrived around 8:30 or 9 o'clock, and they were still inside past 11. I thought maybe it was some sort of party, but my friend said that this would happen at least once a week, like it was a meeting or something. I tried asking my dad about it a few times. He'd usually reply that the building wasn't owned by anyone in town, and that it hadn't been used for several years. But I knew that it had been. I'm not sure what would happen inside that building, but I did find it to be very unusual.